If you were given a chance to meet one of the most influential people of the last century and ask them one question, what would it be? Well, a few weeks ago, I actually got a cryptic email in my inbox with a similar proposal to join this person to northern India and get the chance to meet the Dalai Lama himself, one of the most beloved and spiritual leaders currently alive, and ask him just one question. Now, that's a long trip and short notice for just a question, but given that it's the Dalai Lama himself, there's absolutely no way I could say no.
So Thomas, once again, is being sent away, but this time with Judy.
Oh. You've got 20 seconds to think about the question you're going to ask the Dalai Lama. Start
20,
now.
19, 18.
Oh my god.
8, 7.
Wait,
6,
am I a part of this?
Yeah, you are. 5, 4,
Over. So you guys are no longer going. I'll just give him a call.
Since he is the very happy guy, what about the thing that makes him the most uncomfortable?
Or what's the time you've struggled to forgive?
One question.
You want to go like 1 and then 3 more follow-up?
I have zero idea how much time I'm going to be given. It might be like 5 seconds. It might be 5 minutes.
Think about all the high-profile people who have met him, you know, and like how much time they had with him.
His whole life is like a history of the 20th and 21st century. FDR, President Roosevelt, gifted him a watch. That is so long ago. This man has met every important person to ever live in the last century and this century, and he's probably been asked every single question that you can imagine. So you have to come up with something that is so different.
Do you realize?
Thanks so much! And then he meets us.
Yeah.
We're YouTubers.
To understand why the Dalai Lama is so important, we need to go back 80 years. He was born in 1935 in a small village called Dajer in China. And at 2 years old, he was discovered. When a search party for the next Dalai Lama came to his house to test and see if he was the next reincarnation, he passed each of the tests they gave him, which included choosing the previous Dalai Lama's toys out of a large group and correctly identifying people who he hadn't met yet, making him the next spiritual leader of the Tibetan people. But when he was 15 years old, everything changed. The Chinese army invaded the autonomous region of Tibet, and over the next 9 years, tensions rose between the Tibetan and Chinese, which ultimately led to an armed conflict in 1959. It eventually forced the Dalai Lama to escape dressed as a guard, crossing the Himalayas by foot with a small group to the town of Dharamshala in northern India, along with later on 80,000 refugees. Over the past 70 years, he's survived assassination attempts, all while tirelessly promoting universal peace and compassion. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989, the US Congressional Gold Medal in 2007, and led the Tibetan government in exile until 2011. And so, with a wild opportunity to talk to him, our lead editor TD and I were off on our 30-hour trip to where he resides in India. Let the very long journey to the Dalai Lama in northern India begin. You know how long the flight is?
14 hours and 46 minutes.
I spent 4 days on a bus, so this is easy peasy, baby.
Quick stop in Hong Kong, and then we proceed to Delhi, and then from Delhi we go to Dharamsala. We have arrived in New Delhi. We are about to go meet the man who facilitated this entire trip. Oh!
What's up, dude? How you doing?
Good to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
This is not like a Nigerian prince kind of thing taking us all the way here for nothing. We're actually going.
I just sent you an email, but yeah, no, it's all real.
Finally boarding the flight to Dharamsala. Northern India.
Wow.
The Himalayas are right behind us.
Yeah, what a journey. What was that, 30 hours?
Yeah. We made it! So we've been told we have one question. Does that literally mean one question? Or does it mean like you have 5 minutes?
It literally means one question. So it's actually changed a couple times. So I'm actually not sure the exact setup either.
Wow.
But we're gonna figure it out as we go.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's
Very
the best
yes
way to do it.
theory-ish.
So we flew 30 hours in the hopes of getting a question. This is it. morning.
This guy said.
So, oh wow. They do that often?
Yes, I did so.
A lot? Yeah. The cow just went for it. Okay, so we're walking around Dharamsala right now. It's very loud, but that's a part of the Indian experience. I want to get to know a little bit more, like how we even ended up here. So I just want to know a little bit more about the school and how you guys eventually got involved with the Dalai Lama.
The name of the school is called My Life, My Power Preparatory Academy. We're taking the most broken down, beat up kids and giving them a new home and really trying to give them a purpose and vision. So we wanted to learn a little bit more about mindfulness because Buddhism isn't necessarily a religion, but it's a way of life. And so we wanted to see how we could bring it to our schools and help our kids basically learn and grow through mindfulness. So I've watched you guys three for years. You guys are the most mindful, purpose-driven channel on YouTube. And so I wanted to bring that with us.
And that's a monkey on the electrical wire. I've never seen animals so integrated in a city ever in my life before. After spending a day in the city, we decided to visit the Tibetan Children's Village, a school for Tibetan children, and learn some more directly from the Tibetan people.
Then
How old
after-
were you when you moved?
I was 11 years old. I was the eldest among 5.
How did you come here?
We came by walk from my village.
You walked from Tibet.
Up to the Tibet-Nepal border,
Wow.
and then came by truck up to Kathmandu.
Wow. What this man is talking about is a journey that many Tibetan refugees have been through. See, the conflict in 1959 led to about 86,000 Tibetan casualties and later on hundreds of thousands more, making Tibet one of the most oppressed areas to live in the world.
When Freedom House scored countries and territories for political rights and civil liberties, Tibet came in second worst behind Syria and ahead of both Somalia and North Korea. The whole territory is a gross human rights violation.
To escape this, Tibetan children make the treacherous journey through the Himalayas, and many, if they make it, end up here, in the Tibetan Children's Village. A school that the Dalai Lama founded when he arrived in 1960.
We try to, speak in Tibetan language only, to eat traditional Tibetan food, to remind ourselves that we have a cause to fight, or preserve the Tibetan identity, to teach them Tibetan language, Tibetan culture. So TCV is a home for many children.
I'm Thomas.
Kalidu.
Kalidu? We spent the rest of our first day exploring the beautiful city of Dharamshala and letting everything we're learning sink in. The day before the meeting, we sat down one last time to try and finally hash out what my question was going to be.
On the plane, I actually made a list of questions. I know that you did too. I saw you doing that in the front seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You copied me or what?
No, I actually did
If
first.
you copied a single one of my questions, I'll come after you. I guess the question that we can't guess the answer to, like meaning of life is going to say enlightenment, right?
I wrote down, what's your favorite color?
Okay, well, we got our questions. Yeah, we're done. Did you guys like the if everything you've ever taught was erased, then you can leave one piece of knowledge behind?
But don't you think he's just gonna say?
He's just gonna say like compassion.
Right.
Think better questions. Hey.
Do you believe there's life outside Earth? We've narrowed it down to 4 questions. We're gonna select one and see where we land.
Sounds good.
A part of what makes the current Dalai Lama so unique is that he might well be the last. See, one of the people who finds the Dalai Lama is the Panchen Lama, who's the second highest spiritual leader. And when the Panchen Lama dies, the Dalai Lama is integral to finding the next one. So, in 1995, after the 10th Panchen Lama had passed away, the Dalai Lama named a young Tibetan boy as the next Panchen Lama. But 3 days after naming him, the boy and his family were all taken prisoners by the Chinese and have not been seen since. which means there's no one to choose the next Dalai Lama, making our current one potentially the last.
The day is upon us. We're about to walk down to the temple down there actually to go meet the Dalai Lama, but we've been informed that we're not allowed to bring cameras, we're not allowed to bring phones, we're not allowed to bring any technology, and the whole thing is going to have to be captured by His Holiness's own videography team. There's a fair amount of people coming to this event and a lot of anticipation, I think, in town. And this is the last time we'll be speaking to our own camera, and so from this point on it'll probably switch to theirs.
Thank you. You come.
Hi. Thank you so much for having us. There's a lot of people my age that struggle with anxiety and depression. And so my question to you is, if you had the ability to whisper in the ear an advice or a piece or a lesson to every single young person in the world, what would it be and why?
Karsa, anxiety, depression. Too much self-centered attitude, me, then anxiety, suspicion. The antidote of self-centered attitude, altruism, and consider rest of the human being, one human community. Children, young age, they don't care what others' nationality, what others' religious faith. Pray together. We all have same right to achieve happy life. With the help of technology, now we 7 billion human beings, one community. So we should develop sense of oneness of human being. Now our education, existing education field, we should include how to tackle our destructive emotion. So in this respect, I want to criticize these white people. You see, you introduce modern education. It's very much oriented about material value. We should include education about our mind. For example, myself, my main daily practice is practice altruism. A very important factor for physical health, according to my own experience. Now I'm 84-year-old, but my mind, some of my friends used to express, is quite young, like young. So this, this is nothing special. If I too much emphasis, I'm Tibetan, I'm Buddhist, I'm Dalai Lama, then you yourself actually isolated by yourself. Then more anxiety. So altruism, very, very helpful to reduce self-centered attitude. That automatically reduce anxiety, frustration. Thank you.
We did it. He answered your question with like best message of giving back.
Yeah.
And he roasted you, which is the best part.
We got roasted. White boy, huh?
Great job, team. Great job, team. Boom.
And so now we turn to you. As a challenge to practice compassion and altruism, within the next few hours of watching this video, we want you to go out into the world and do an act of kindness or compassion towards somebody who might not be expecting it. It could be forgiving a friend, surprising a family member, or a stranger, or a homeless person on the street, and let us know how it goes. And as a final note, Jake and the organization he works for, My Life, My Power, got about 1,000 bracelets blessed by the Dalai Lama and are selling them online now to build a school in the US for underprivileged children. Links to that will be in the description below if you want to support them, and we'll see you next week.